Hi all. I was messaged on Facebook for a great engine versus engine game. Lars Brokkenen, who's in Norway, lives in Norway. So this game which he mentioned, yeah, I found actually pretty interesting. It's Komodo against Bobcat. By the way, I have seen also the film a street cat named Bob, which is actually pretty good as well on a side. So anyway, E4 from Komodo, and we get the Karakan. C4, D5, E takes, knight F6. We transpose into what looks to be a Panov Botvinnik style attack. So G6, C takes, D5, knight takes. Now pressure on D5 with Queen B3. Knight takes, and now not a routine capture actually. We have to move Bishop C4, aiming at F7. It's too dangerous to allow Bishop takes F7. So the usual moves are E6 as played or Knight D5. Knight D5, just to show you, games have gone like this with actually white taking on C6 and ending up with a small edge. Okay, just for those interested there. But in the game we see E6 and white strengthens the centre. Bishop G7. Bishop A3 cutting across to stop black castling for a moment. Knight A5, check. And now the queen parks on B2. B6. Bishop E2. So for the moment black can't castle. F6, manual castling is invoked. White castles naturally. King F7. Bishop B4. Black avoids potentially double pawns. Knight C6. A3, just supporting the bishop like that. Now knight takes would heal the pawns quite considerably and open up the A files. So it's left there. We see rook E8. C4, and these pawns look a little bit mobile. Is this going to be a factor? King G8, rook A1 going to support potentially D5. Queen C7, and the other rook comes in. So white's position looks pretty harmonious. Knight D8, rook C1, knight F7, H4, rook AB8, Queen C2, starting to put pressure on black's king side. Bishop C6, and now D5. Black cannot afford to take here because there's a gigantic pin. So after D5 we see Bishop B7, Queen B3, Bishop H6. That's hitting the rook. That rook moves. A5. That bishop moves. E5. But this does mean this pawn is kind of dangerous now. This looks like a passed pawn. It can be blockaded, it seems, for the moment. Rook B1. So eyeing B6. That's protected with Bishop A6. H5. Trying to soften black's king side up and maybe get the F5 square potentially. You know, if takes, then there might be in the future knight H4 to F5. Black leaves that pawn. Bishop G7, Bishop D2, knight D6. Now that pawn is reinforced. Knight F5, Bishop F1, E4, and this is where it gets really interesting. Can you see what white plays in this position if I give you 5 seconds starting from now? Okay, the move C5 is played, which hits the bishop. Bishop takes F1, and we see D6 check. The queen goes there, otherwise it's going to be lost. So, but now interestingly, what does white play here? Does white want to take the bishop, or is anything stronger, do you think, in this position? Okay, white actually plays D7. Yeah, no need to take the bishop. This rook's attacked now. Rook E8, and now, guess what? These pawns are really dangerous. C6, no need to take this bishop. C7 is a massive threat all of a sudden. Rook A8, but at the moment, black could maybe sack a rook and be okay. So rook A8 was played, not moving the bishop here, because then C7 is forking both rooks, and also there's an option of C8. So the rook A8, but there's a key move in this position which really plays on the trump card of these two connected passed pawns. So a further I'll give you a clue. It's a further Zwischenschlag move. Instead of taking on f1, guess what white plays? I mean, it's a very instructive tactic for winning a square. I don't know if this should be called winning a square tactic. White play, if I give you 5 seconds. And also to help liberate the pawns. So what is good with that strategic agenda? You want to help liberate these pawns further without necessarily inviting a rook sack for both of them. So white play. Okay, great move. Knight e5, hitting the queen. Just trying to win that g5 square for the bishop. Black took on b3. We have queen. We have rook takes b3. If, by the way, f takes. Let's have a look. Bishop g5 is just actually really dangerous. For example, like this, queen takes. It's very difficult to do anything about bishop takes and c7 here. That's the point. So, yeah, after knight e5, queen takes was played. And now bishop e2, hg. And actually here, because the knight's also holding g6, actually black did take that. Bishop g5, knight d4, bishop takes d8. And these two connected passed pawns are clearly very dangerous. Bishop g4. Yeah, if knight takes, it's just c7 crashing through. So here we have bishop g4, rook takes b6, knight takes c6, getting rid of at least the connected pawns, but after g takes h7, black took, and now rook c7. And there's this thing at the end of the tell here for winning back some further material. After rook takes d8, rook d6, nasty pin. e3 was played, that's taken. Bishop f8. White ends up being the exchange up after all of that. After rook a7, bishop takes a3, the game ended here. White's just the exchange up. White's just going to, for example, take on a5 and then just play king f2. White's just the exchange up. So a very interesting game from the perspective of connected passed pawns being liberated, I thought. So thank you to Lars Brobacken for mentioning that to me on Facebook. And if you have got any great games you want to mention for my consideration, I'm Kingscrusher on Facebook. Just message me there if you're excited about a game. And clearly Lars was. He called it Komodo's Immortal. Okay, what do you think? Comments, questions, likes, shares appreciated. Thanks very much.